Hi everyone, San on the side and welcome back to your first game series. So in this video you'll learn a lot about signals, scripts, sound effects and a lot more. So let's get started. So here we are back in Godot. Until now what we've done is we've made a character, which is this one. We have made our palm trees. One is the back palm trees and the front palm trees, which was a part of inheritance, which was covered in the last video. Also we have made our tile sets. So now what we want is to have, what do we say, is collectibles. So if you see on the bottom left, you would see there is a new directory named as sound effects, in which we have 4 sound effects and we have 1 wave file, we have 3 mp3s. So if you just want to get this folder of sound effects, you can get that from the GitHub link in the description below. And if you want to have this whole starter pack, you can get that too in the GitHub link in the description below. So let's get started. So this is our level, and what I want is to, again, first of all, see what all assets do we actually have. So if I go here, click on this, and if I click on this pirate treasure, you would see sprites, and we have a lot of treasure items. So you see there's a big map, blue diamond, blue potion, coin effect, dynamite effect, gold coin, gold skull, a lot of them. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to start with the coin, and with that we'll go on to the potions, and then the crystals, and then finally the skull. It may not be in that exact order. So let's start with this coin. So if I just zoom out, and before we get started, we are actually going to use the concept of inheritance. So make sure you have watched the previous video, but if you haven't, I'll still go over the basics in brief. So first of all, let's try to create the coin. So I'll click on add a new scene, and I'll click on this 2D scene. And what I'll do is I'll just rename this to coin. And what I'll do later on is actually delete this scene. But for now, let's go with it so that you have a basic understanding of this. So what I'll do is I'll add a child node, which is the animated sprite 2D, because coin has some animations, right? So for that we need animated sprite, as well as we need a collision shape as well. So collision shape 2D, we have an animated sprite 2D, we have a collision shape 2D. So what I'll do is I'll drag this below this collision shape, and that is not exactly needed for now, but anyways. So you see there is an error on the collision shape, and there is an error on this animated sprite. So the thing is, if you see here, this collision shape should be a child of a body, and no 2D is not a body. So for that I need to add a body, and this we will use an area 2D, not exactly a body, but can be treated as one. So I'll take that and make this collision shape as a child of this area 2D. Okay, we are good with that. And the job of this area 2D is to have an area which we can use to detect if an object is entering or exiting. So that is the only use of this. Next is this animated sprite 2D. In this we still see an error, and we'll discuss the collision shape error later on. So in this animated sprite 2D, what we do is go to this right animation, and in this we add this sprite frames. So click on this new sprite frames, and if I click on this again, that would open this animation panel. So let's look what all types of animations do we actually have. So in this, let's say we have a coin effect, we also have a gold coin. So if I click on that, we can see there is a coin effect. So what I'll do is I'll take all of these 4 sprites and just drag it in this, and I would name this animation as spin. So press enter, and if I just zoom out, and I can just scroll up on my mouse wheel, and that would just zoom in, and press F to center everything. So we have this gold coin, and if I press play, you'll see the coin is actually spinning. So the thing is, the asset pack is having all the animations running at 10 frames per second. So what you do is you just update this to 10 frames per second. And if you've been watching my previous videos, you would know this is a very important feature, which is autoplay on load. So whenever you load a scene, this would automatically start spinning. So click on that as well. So we are good with this. This is a coin. We need a collision shape which is circular. Okay, So for the collision shape, click on that and go all the way towards the right. Click on this shape, empty, and choose the new circle shape. Click on that and that would open this collision shape. And what you'll do is you just drag this somewhere about that size so that it just fits around the coin. And what I'll do is, first of all, I'll close all of this directories and I'll save this scene. Control+S to save. This will open the res directory. And then this, what I'll do is first of all create a new folder named as collectibles. And once you do that, I can save this coin scene there. So save. And the way that we are going to use this area 2D is we'll attach a script to this coin and that would do something whenever a body enters the scene. And by the body, I mean the player itself. But for now, let's go back to this Palm Island. And here, what I would like to do is go here, click on this plus, and I'll instantiate a new node 2D, which would be keeping track of all the collectibles. Press enter to save. And then this, I'll click on this, instantiate a child scene. It would open this. And in the collectibles directory, I have a coin.tscn. Use that and you have your coin. So I can place it right about there. I can press Ctrl D to duplicate and hold it to shift it. And if you press shift, it would automatically align to the x-axis or the y-axis, depending on where your cursor is. So I'll place it somewhere about there, save the scene. And now if you observe, the coin is actually in front of this tree, which should not be the case because I'm assuming that coin is on the platform and the tree is in front of the platform. So for that, as we did for the back palm trees, if you remember, if I click here and if I go here on the right in this ordering, you see we had set the Z index as -1 in our previous video. So for this, the front palm trees, what I would like to do is change this ordering to +1. And what that would do is, if you see, the coin is now actually behind this. I can save the scene, and what I could do is if I press play and I can actually see the coin, right? If I just zoom this in, you can see the coin on the left, the coin on the right. This is working fine. But if I go through the coin, nothing actually happens, right? So that is an issue which is very easy to resolve. But we are not going to do that right now. We're going to do that at a later stage. So I'll just close this and let's again go back to this asset and see what all sprites do we actually have. So in this, we have a coin effect. Okay, so this is an effect for this coin. So let's add that. I'm back in this coin scene. So what I'll do is add a new animation by clicking on this add animation, and I would rename this as effect. And for this, since this is a coin, I'll take these 3 coins and drag it into here. So if I just press play to see what happens, so it is actually looping, which is what we don't want. So I'll select this, so that would stop the looping, but I can press play to see this effect. Okay, that is good. Save this and let's attach a script, right? But before that, we need to have an idea of what we are actually trying to do. So for this, what I want is, okay, so this is playing this animation, which is what we don't want. So go back to coin and select the spin animation. So that is fine. So if you select the spin animation here, that would be reflected in your level scene. This should be reflected in your level scene. I'll press Ctrl+S to save, and yep, this is reflected here. So if what I want is, let's just play the scene. So what I want is, as soon as my player touches this coin, I want that effect animation to be played. Okay, so what I'll do is close this, and so let us attach the script anyway. So click on this coin, click on this, attach a new or existing script to the selected node. So click on that. This is coin.gd. So that GD is for actually GD script, which is Godot's own language. So this inherits node 2D, fine, and we are good to go. Just make sure that you are saving this in this collectibles directory itself. So create, and what I want is whenever, if I go on this 2D, whenever my player touches this blue circle, I want this to play that effect animation. Click on the script to open the script. So what I want is now to connect it to a signal. Now a signal is basically the node is shouting that something has happened, and what has happened is defined based on that node. So let's say if I click on this area 2D, click on this node, and here you would see you have a lot of options of what has happened. So whenever an area is entered, this coin script would shout that an area is entered, do something. Let's say if I have body entered, see? So that means whenever a body would enter this coin would shout that body has entered and now do something. So that is the idea. So what we want is for this area to shout whenever a body has entered. So for that, what I'll do is click on this body entered and double click on this, and sometime it works, sometime it doesn't work. It is asking to connect it to a script. So whenever there is a signal, you want to do something, and when you want to do something, you have to attach it to a script or you have to write code. So this code is going to be very straightforward, very simple, and it will be very easy for you to follow along. So area 2D connecting from, so basically this coin script is connecting from this area 2D, and this would shout that body has entered, and when you shout, you would call this particular function on area 2D body entered. So what you do is you connect, and once you do that, you would see this function. Function is a piece of code, just that. So on area 2D body entered, what I want is do something, right? To play this animation, right? So what I'll do is, first of all, what you see is there is this body parameter. So this is the body which is actually entering this node or this area 2D. So this is passing this as an argument so that you can actually manipulate some properties on the body itself. So whenever the player would enter, this would basically say that player has entered. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this, and I'll just first of all write a print statement and print body. And if I press dot, it would show all the properties this body has. Okay, so I don't want that dot. I can just print the body itself, and I press Ctrl+S to save. If I go back to this level, and for some reason if you're still seeing the scripts tab, what you do is you click on this 2D. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just play, and if I go over this coins once, you won't see anything happening. So I'll just close this, but you see, if you see here, when I went to this coin, this was printed on this terminal. When I went through this coin, this was printed. So whatever body it saw entering, that it printed that on the terminal. Okay, that's good, and that means the signal is working fine. So I'll go back to this coin and the script, and what I want is not to print anything, but what I want is this animated sprite 2D to play the effect animation, right? So what I'll do is I'll just remove this print statement and write pass. So the pass keyword is just telling Godot that I have not written anything in this function, so just pass it for now. I'll fill it later on. Otherwise, if you don't do anything, it would throw an error, or it would shout that unexpected intended block after something like that, whatever it is. Okay, so I'll just paste this pass for the time being, and what I want is to access this animated sprite 2D. So how do you do that? There are two ways. One of this is first click on this node and just drag it onto the terminal or the coding area. If I leave my mouse, this would show this sprite 2D. So starting with $, that is basically referencing to a node in this scene. So if I press tab, and that would be good enough. So what I want in this animated sprite 2D to play what? The Godot auto completes the effect and the spin. So whenever a player entered, you need to play the effect animation. So click on effect, press Ctrl+S, and now what I want is to make sure that you understand everything, because we are going to do everything again, but in a more generic way. So okay, so if I play the game, and if I go over this coin, see, you saw that effect, right? And for this coin as well, see, you have this the last frame of this coin effect. But if I go again, it would play again, because coin is, for this game, coin is still present there. It's not out of the scene. So what I want is to collect a coin a single time, right? So I'll close this, and what I want is to delete that coin after you've entered that coin. So what I want is to do queue free, and now queue free is a way to tell Godot that close it off or delete this node from the scene. Okay, so save this, and if I press play or run project, when I go over the coin, what I should expect is, or what you should expect is, that the coin plays the effect animation and then it should be deleted. So if I go over this coin, coin is deleted. If I go over this coin, coin is deleted. But if you remember, we had this animation playing effect, right? And earlier it was working, but just after writing queue free, why is it that it is not playing the effect animation? So the thing is, whenever you call this play, so it tries to play that animation, but immediately after that, it is not waiting for that animation to finish. It is just queue free. That means delete that node. So whenever a player enters, it tries to play that effect animation, but immediately after that it deletes. That is not something what I want. So what I could do is, again, I'll take this animated sprite 2D, place this, and I'll press dot and write finished, animation finished. So again, this is again a signal, and this is going to be emitted when the animation has finished. But now what I want to do is wait for that signal to be released when animation is finished, and till that time I want to go after this line of code, and only after that I can delete this node. I can save this. If I press play, now what you would see is, when I go over this, you'll see the effect animation and then it would be deleted from the scene. See, you saw that? Again, we did that. Okay, so that is good, and we are good with this. Now I told you that we are going to work with sound effects, right? So let's add one. Now for this sound effect, we are going to use a new node which is not used till now, or I think not on this channel till now. So what I'll do is click on this plus, zoom out, and what we need is an audio player, audio stream player 2D. This is the node which would handle the audio of or the sound effect of this coin. Click on this, and so now if you see, this is made as a child of this animated sprite 2D, which should not be the case. So I'll drag this and make this a child of the coin itself. Okay, so in this, if you see on the rightmost panel, we are still in this nodes one. We don't want that. So click on this inspector. So you would see this, and what you should observe is this streams thing, which is empty. And so this stream thing, this stream is actually the one which would actually store that sound. So if I go on this bottom left asset directory, and this sound effects, see, we have this coin.wave. So what I'll do is select that and drag it all the way over to this stream. Okay, so that's good. And now if I click on this playing, just hear what happens. So when I click on this play, you can actually hear the sound. So what I would do is, control this playing variable, the thing in this function. So whenever a body enters, you play this, right? So what you do is you just go into a new line, again, drag this node into the screen, and what you do is you dot play, and that is enough for what we want in this. So if I press play this, see what happens. See, it is working great. Now what I observed is that in my animated sprite, the effect animation is still at 5 frames per second. So make that as 10, save that. See, this is really good. I can close this. There is a principle known as dry principle in programming in itself. So dry means do not repeat yourself, or don't repeat yourself. And technically we have not repeated anything, but we have used this variable, or we have used this animated sprite 2D twice, And technically, if you are trying to access something, you should always store that in a variable if you're using it multiple times. So what I'll do is I'll create a variable. This is just to show you how this GT script works. So I'll create a variable and I would name this as animated sprite 2D. And what is this? We need to specify the type as well. So this is an animated sprite 2D, this one. And this is actually equal to this node. So save this. And now what you could do is you could use this variable instead of this direct import path. So I'll just copy this and I'll try to paste this here as well as here. Now you see, doing that, we have a couple of errors, right? And it is saying something like at onReady. So let me just explain a simple thing. So whenever you instantiate a scene, first this node would be created, then this node would be created, then this area 2D would be created, then this collision shape would be created, and then after that this audio stream player 2D would be created. So the order in which you actually place your nodes will determine how they are actually loaded into the scene. But this script that you see here is with this coin. So this coin script would be instantiated when you instantiate this node's coin. But at that point of time, when you create this coin, there is no existence of this animated sprite 2D. And because of that, accessing this animated sprite 2D would throw an error. That is what it is saying. So what you do is you just start with at onReady, and what this would do is first wait for this whole scene to be instantiated, like the sprite, the area, collision, and the stream player, and only after that you assign this variable to this particular thing. Now if you see, the space in this terminal or this window is quite small. So what you could do is either you could press Ctrl- to zoom out, plus Ctrl++ to zoom in, right? And if you press Alt+Z, that would enable the text wrapping. So you see this 3 and 4. So if I press Alt+Z, that would actually text wrap it within the scene. If you want more space, you can click on this to remove this left panel, and that's not an issue. So okay, that's about that. If I press save and if I run the scene, I would still see the same thing. Nothing there is problematic. Now what you see is, you might have observed this debugger. So there is a slight issue. If I click on this and click on this errors, it is saying that parameter body is never used in the function. So the thing is, you're calling this function, right? Or you have written this function and you've taken a node, which the body, which is a node in some scene, as a parameter, but you are not using it inside this. So Godot is taking the effort to get you the node body, but you're not using it. So what you have to do is to tell Godot that I'm not using this body by appending it with an underscore. So when you do that underscore, that would take care of this error. So if I just run this and again close this game, see, there is no more error. So you're good with that. I hope you are able to get this. And yep, we are done with this video, but what I wanted to show you is something different. If you go on this asset pack, right, you have coin effect, right? You have a blue potion, okay? You have a blue diamond, you have a big map. So we are not covering maps in this particular video. That would be a different video in itself. Anyways, we have a diamond effect. So we had a coin effect, we have a diamond effect, as well as, okay, I'll just zoom this in. We have a golden skull, okay? We have a green bottle and we have a green diamond. So all the diamonds, I'm treating that as crystals. Let's just go a bit below. See, we have what? We have a skull effect as well. We have a silver coin, red potion, red diamond, potion effect. Okay, so we have a different effect for the potion itself, and we have a map effect which we are not going to see in this video. We have green diamond. I know this is boring, but having a gist of what the asset pack is would actually help you to understand what I'm trying to do next. Because if you're trying to create each and everything from scratch, okay, so this was gold coin, you can do the same thing again for a silver coin, you can do the same thing for potions, you can do the same thing for crystals, for every type of crystal, for every type of potion, and that would actually be very problematic. So I'll just zoom out and we are in this coin scene. And now what I would do is actually create a new scene, and this is where we are going to use the concept of inheritance that we covered in the previous video, and I want to go into this 2D scene. So I would take this as a 2D scene, and this would be what? This would be a collectible base, or like this. Okay, so as discussed in my previous video, we've discussed the concept of inheritance, where there is a child and a parent, there is a base, and there is a derived. So we are using that nomenclature. It's just a nomenclature, nothing about that. Now what we want is to have the same thing for diamonds, for the portions, and for the skull itself. So everything here has a very similar structure, and that is what we are trying to actually exploit. So for this is a collectible base, and this coin had what? Animated sprite, area, and the audio stream player 2D. So what I'll do is I'll go into this unsaved thing. I'll add a new scene, which is the animated sprite 2D. Click on that, and in this okay, so I'll add the animations later on. So let's just add all the nodes. So for this we need an area 2D as well. So area 2D, we need a collision shape 2D. So we are just trying to do this, we are just trying to do the same thing as we did with the coin, and we also need an audio stream player 2D. So this is that, and what I would like to do is technically do nothing, but I would rename this collectible base to start with a capital C. Okay, now we have the same things that we had in coin. Now I'll go into this animated sprite 2D, and I'll go to the right, go here, animation, sprite frames, new sprite frames, zoom out, click on the sprite frames, and now what I want to have the same animations, the spin and the effect. Every other item here is following the same pattern. So I'll rename this to spin. This would be autoplay on load and 10 frames per second, and just save. That is about that. I'll create a new animation, and that would be what? This would be named as effect, and press enter. Again, you do not want it to loop, and this would be 10 frames per second. Okay, so not 11 but 10. We're good with that. We have everything that the coin had, spin and effect. What we don't have is the script itself. Fine, so let me attach a script to it. So click on this, attach a script, collectible base GD. Again, this should not be in the res directory, this should be in this collectibles directory. So yeah, and then you just save this. Now what I want is to take this area 2D and attach a signal, and if I go towards the right, click on this node, and if you see we have this body entered, click on that, and that would open this panel as we discussed earlier. Connect, and now what we want is to write the code. So if you go to this coin, this would open the coin script, right? And you see we had written this, so this is there. So what I'll do is I'll just first of all copy this, Ctrl+C, and I'll paste it here. And remember, for this debugger thing, we need to add an underscore before this. Now what is this saying is that there is no animated sprite 2D. So what you could do is, in this coin 2D we had written this, right, this statement. Either what you could do is you can just copy this, or I'll tell you a different way, a better way. Click on this animated sprite 2D, drag it over the screen, don't leave it yet, hold Control and then leave it, and what that would do is automatically write that line for you. And just press Alt Z to enable text wrapping, and Ctrl+S to save, and this would be a collectible scene, collectible base, and save. And now still there is an issue. Okay, the nomenclature is different. This is not 2D. Okay, so this is not 2, this is 2D, this is 2D, and this is 2D. Save, and that should change here as well. Save. Okay, so that is good. So now we have no sprites in this, we have the animations. We are trying to control those animations using this signals as well from this area 2D. We don't have sounds. And now, since we have this, right, what we could do is we could just inherit this. And if I inherit this, I don't have to worry about creating a single thing for every collectible. So what we'll do is we'll exploit this property of this structure of collectibles and try to make all of these assets quite quickly. So the way you do that is, actually first I'll just try to close this out. So what I'll do is go on to this top left, click on this scene, click on new inherited scene, And in this, what we'll choose is this collectible base. So click there and that would open everything. And if you see, you have the same structure as the collectible base, but everything is yellow. So what I want is this to be a coin base. So in this, I'll just rename this to coin base, and I can actually save this scene. So save it, and this animated sprite 2D, we want to add all of these animations. And now you see, the thing would be, you might not be able to do that. So before that, go back to your collectible base, click on this animated sprite 2D and select this local to scene. So what this does is every child of this node would have their own unique resources. So save that, go back to this coin base, and if you go back to this animated sprite 2D, you would see these buttons are actually enabled. So I'll go on this pirate treasure sprites, and for this spin I won't add anything yet, but for this effect I can add the coin effect. So I'll drag this out and save this scene. If I just zoom this in right here, press F to center, I can also add this collision shape, which is this circle shape, not rectangle, but this should be circle. So I'll drag this, make it somewhere about that size. That is good. And for this audio stream, what we want is this coin effect, right? So I'll select this, drag it all the way to the stream, and we are good with this. So save the scene. Now what I want is to create a gold coin and a silver coin. And what I'll do is now I'll directly inherit this coin base as a scene. So what I'll do is click on the scenes, click on this new inherited scene, and in this you select the coin base. Now this would give you the same thing which was in the coin base. So you, in this audio stream player, you have that audio, the collision shape is circular, the animated sprite, the effect would have this effect, but the spin would be empty. So what I'll do is first rename this to gold coin, and for this animated sprite 2D in the spin, I'll search for this gold coin. So I'll select all of them, drag it here and press Ctrl+S to save, and I'll save that as a gold coin. So in this coin base, what I'll do is select this collision shape and slightly increase the size. So save this, and that looks good. So what I could do is actually go back to this palm tree island, and these were the coins, right? This coin. So what I'll do is, for the moment, I'll delete these coins, click OK, and what I'll do is I'll click on this collectibles and I'll instantiate a gold coin. Click there, and that would do the job. I'll place it here, press Ctrl+S, and now let's see if this runs or not. So if I go over it, just hear what happens, and yeah, it's working fine, it's working correctly, and everything is actually looking good. So I can close this, and now what I would do is click on this scene, new inherited scene, and I'll go back to the collectibles, and what I'll do is actually use this coin base again. So click there, and in this animated sprite 2D, in the spin, now I want to add the silver coin. So I'll select all of them, drag it there, and I'll rename this to silver coin. Okay, that is good, right? So I can just save the scene as a silver coin, save this. If I go back to this level, collectibles, I'll instantiate a silver coin, and I can just place it just about there. And if I save and if I run, now using the same script, the same collectible base node, we can have this coin and this coin as well. So both of them are actually working. Okay, that is good. That is good. Close this, and now let's go over some more of these assets. So let's see what should we do next. Let's do the skull, this golden skull, because that's quite a small job. So what I'll do is I'll remove this coin base. I don't need that. I remove this gold coin and the silver coin, but I do need this collectible base. And since we now have the gold coin and the silver coin, what I'll do is go into this collectibles, and I'll delete this coin GD and remove, as well as I'll remove this coin scene. I'll delete that, remove, and that would make this asterisk symbol. That means the scene is not saved. So click there. I'll just close this to don't save, and what this would do is just remove that from this game itself, because we already have a gold coin and a silver coin. We don't need it anymore. So we have this collectible base. So what I'll do is I'll click on this scene, new inherited scene, you know the drill. And this time we want the skull, right? So I'll take this collectible base, click there, and I'll rename this to golden skull. That is good. For this animation, for the spin, let's take all of these assets, drag it here. For the effect, let's find the skull effect and select all of them, place it there. That is good. For this collision shape, let me just, okay, so first sprite 2D, select the spin so that I can actually see the skeleton. And what I'll do is I'll just drag this somewhere about the center. So now what I want is a collision shape. So I click on this collision shape, and the best collision shape I think for this is still a circle, right? So I'll take this and I'll just make this smaller. And what I'll do is take the skull and shift 1 pixel down. So that is actually good, right? This looks good. Press F to center anyways. And yep, I'll save. And okay, so before saving, we need the audio as well. Click on this audio stream player. There is nothing there. So for this, we have this skull.mp3. Take that and drag it all the way to the stream. And you can just save the scene, the collectibles as golden skull. Save the scene and go back to this palm tree, and let's just instantiate a golden skull. This is there, and I'll place it right over there. Okay, so see, now skull is working. So that was about golden skull. I can close this, and now what I want is the potions. So we have a green bottle, we have a red bottle, green bottle, red potion, and we have a blue one, I think, right? A blue potion as well. So we have 3. So let's click on scene, new inherited scene, and collectible base, and this would be potion base. And for this animated sprite, for this effect, we have this potion effect, and I'll take all of these 4 and place it there. That is good. For the spin, we'll add that when we inherit this node again. So I'll close this. For the collision shape, I want a different collision shape for every potion, so I'll not disturb that, but I need to have a common audio. So now what I would do is take this potion.mp3 here, I'll drag this to this stream, and that is good. We are almost done with the potion base. What I'll do is I'll just save the scene, save this as potion base, and let's inherit the scene again. So click on new inherited scene, and what I want is the potion base. Click there, and I'll rename this as red potion. Okay, and now what we need to change is this collision shape as well as the spin animation. So in spin, this is the red potion, right? So I'll go in this red potion, select all of these, place it there, save the scene, save as red potion, and let's just zoom this in, and let's see what we can use as a collision shape. So click on this collision shape, click on the shape, and again a circle would be just fine, just somewhere like that. So that is good. Control S to save, and we have an audio stream player which already has the potion effect. We have the effect of this whenever you collect a potion, and you have a spin effect, spin animation as well. So I'll do this again, new inherited scene and potion base. In this animated sprite, for the spin, let's go with this green bottle for now. So I'll select all of them, select that, and that is good. And for this area 2D collision shape, this should have a rectangle shape. So I'll hold Alt, select a corner to shape it something like that. I'll drag this down, and I'll just rename this to green potion. Press enter, and I can just save the scene, save, and let me just do this one more time for this blue potion. So potion base, zoom this in, animated sprite, and let's just find the blue potion. I'll select all of this, drag it here, and that would be for the blue potion. So that is good. The collision shape, this time we've used a circle, we've used a rectangle. For this, we'll use a capsule. So I'll just drag this something like that, reduce the size, and that is good. I'll rename this to blue potion. Now what do these potions do? We'll figure out in a different video, because that would involve UI and other elements as well, and we are not there yet. So yeah, and just save the scene, save. Now we have red potion, we have green, and we have blue potion. So let's go into this tree, and let me just instantiate all of these potions. So collectibles, instantiate, just search for potions. So red potion, place it there. Yep. Again, I'll instantiate a new potion, which would be the blue potion. Place it there. Let me just instantiate a green potion as well. Collectibles, potion, and green potion. So you see, it's not that easy to make a game. Let's save this. So if I run this game, run this project, and let's see what happens if I go over this. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll stop talking. Let's just go over what happens. Okay, that is good. Now you might have observed one thing, but I'll let you rethink what just happened, and we'll figure that out just after creating the final set of crystals that we have in this, the diamonds, and then we'll figure out what was exactly the issue. Okay, so the thing is, we don't need this potion base or the red potion or the green potion or the blue potion anymore. We just need the collectible base, and technically we don't need that open anyway now. I can close that as well. So click on scene, new inherited scene, and in this I'll go to the collectibles. Where is the collectible base? This one. And what I want is this to be a crystal base that would have all the crystal animation. So animated sprite. In this effect I can have the diamond effect there, and yep, that's it. For the audio stream player I can have this crystal effect. So I'll take that, drag it all the way over to this stream, and if I just play it, yep, that is good. And for the collision shape, it would depend on the sprite, so I'll leave that for now. And for the spin, obviously again depending on the sprite. So first of all, let's start with the blue diamond, and before that let's save this crystal base. Save that. Okay, so scene, new inherited scene, and crystal base, and this would be the blue crystal. Okay, so for this animated sprite spin effect, we would go with this blue potion, or not the blue potion but the blue diamond. Select all of these four, place it there. That is good. We already have the audio, we just need to figure out the collision shape. So we just zoom in and let's look what we have here. A circle would be fine, or a new convex. Okay, so let's go with the circle itself. This, yeah, that is good, because that won't be noticeable. So we have this audio collision and the animations of this as well. So I'll save this as blue crystal. Save. Now what all crystals do we have? We have a red diamond and we have a green diamond, so two more. So what we will do is click on scene, new inherited scene, and we would again choose the crystal base, and this would be the red crystal. Fine. And in this let's just add the spin animation, drag it over there, and for the collision shape let's again go with circle. Nothing wrong with circle itself, so that is good. Save this red crystal, and now what we are left with is green crystal. So scene, new inherited scene, crystal base, and green crystal. Okay, that is good. Animated sprite, let's find the green crystal. This is the spin animation, drag it over there. Collision shape, and for this we can actually use the rectangle shape. So hold alt, select a corner, drag it all the way down. That is good, and save. Okay, so now I'll go back to this tree island and I'll instantiate where here, here, and here. So I'll add a green crystal that would go here. I'll instantiate a blue. Where is the crystal? Blue crystal. Place it there, and I'll instantiate a red. Okay, so red crystal. I'll place it. Let's see. That is good. Control S to save. Let's play the game. So let's take all the potions. See? That is great. That is good. Okay, so now I talked about figuring out one of the errors. So the thing was, before that, what we have done is made gold coin, silver, golden skull, red potion, blue potion, green crystal, blue crystal, red crystal, a lot of assets. And if you've observed, is we used the same structure, the same common crystal base, not the base, crystal base, but the collectible base from which we derived, I think, how many? 4 classes or 4 child scenes, which is a potion, skull, coin, and a crystal. And for potion, we had 3 more children, red, blue, and green, and same for crystal. And for coins, we had a golden coin, a silver coin, and for a skull, we did not have any children. So that's that. So we created a lot of scenes in this one. So I'll just minimize that. And now I'll just play this level again, and I want you to figure out what is the issue. I hope you were able to understand what was the issue, and if you did not, the issue was once we went through this, the audio was played once, and if I try to come back, the audio tried to play it again. But once you've taken the object, you cannot collect it again. So technically what we were doing is collecting it 2 times. So what was happening? So the thing is, when you entered this scene, right? So it is still waiting for this animation finished of this effect to be played, and only after that would be deleted from the scene. But once you collected this and you went away, you are out of this area 2D. But after that, you try to come back again, and when you came back again, at this point of time, the animation was not finished yet. So if I just open this collectible base, and if I go to the script, you're running this function again, just because your collision shape was still active. This area 2D was still active while the animation was playing, and you went in and you came back in again. So this area detected you entering the body 2 times, and that is why this was played 2 times. And technically that should not happen. This should play exactly once and never again. So after that, what you could actually do is you could just take this area 2D node and just delete that. So once you delete that node, you won't be able to again detect that. If I just press play and I try to do this again, this won't do this thing. So we are technically done. Let's see, there are no more errors. So you see, there are no more issues in the debugger as well. It was a pretty huge video, pretty long video, and we did a lot of stuff, really a lot of stuff. We created a script which is common for every treasure that you have, and that is the power of inheritance, and you could just reuse the same thing. We are basically using the dry principle to not repeat yourself. Okay, so that was the video, a long one, and hope you were able to learn a lot of stuff. If you want to like, you can like. If you want to dislike, just tell me what you did not like, how to improve that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye.